Yo, look at
the
Josh
back.
hitting us with the breaking news. Put us in the corner, Josh.
The Breakfast Club, as you know it, is officially over.
Angela Yee. We've all been wondering for years and years and years what was going to happen because you've been able to feel
Charlamagne's gone.
DJ Envy, Charlamagne, and Angela Yee kind of growing apart, becoming less and less cool. The Gucci Mane situation was definitely a factor in all that.
think so?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was clearly.
She felt like disrespected or something?
I mean, he called her like what, a stupid ass hoe on camera in front of Charlamagne.
Wasn't that years ago?
And it was, but I'm
That
saying
was so long ago.
that was a moment where we got to sort of see inside their dynamic because it was just kind of obvious that they weren't as tight as people might have assumed at that moment. And I feel like since then, people have kind of been wondering when they might go their separate ways because they all obviously carry a lot of value as a unit. But meanwhile, if you go your separate ways and you can get 100% of the money of what you're doing on your own.
Yeah, no, dead the fuck
And
out.
especially with Charlamagne being
Shout out to Community
gigantic.
Clips. Fuck no, jumper!
One of the realest things I ever seen on the Reddit was AD manages to make himself the main character in every single conversation.
Yes!
So
You know
let's work
what?
on that. Anyway, but the Breakfast Club. That really is the question.
That's
It's like,
crazy.
okay, but Charlamagne is doing so much shit on his own.
How does
that
he even have time?
Well, it's kind of like, is it that big a sacrifice to continue doing something that clearly has two other people as partners in it? Or at a certain point, does it just become like, why even fucking bother?
Bro,
I
feel
think
like
it's more of a radio thing.
Yeah, and it's just like
But they're very multimedia. They're on Revolt. They're on YouTube, you know.
it's,
Yeah, but
it's a staple though.
But if you really think about it, like,
Oh, them having to put in all the time to do radio and shit.
when's the last time, like, you really seen, like, a good, like, Breakfast Club interview? Like, I used to watch
Yeah, I
Breakfast
used to
Club
watch them.
interviews as much as I watch No Jumper interviews.
Yeah,
It
facts.
And it
felt
don't seem like they do that anymore like that.
Like if you really think about it, it felt like they were more of a player a couple years ago, and that because like once you have the deal and you're locked in, it takes a certain something for you to really fight to get every amazing interview. And it's kind of felt like for a while the Breakfast Club maybe wasn't super concerned with getting all these top interviews like they
Yeah.
were for a certain period of time. I don't know.
Maybe podcasts ruined it. The more podcasts came, a lot less radio shows became like prominent.
Yeah, people stopped like watching those ones that, because like think about it, that was the only option you had at first was to watch a
But I
Breakfast
still
Club.
feel like the
or-
Breakfast Club, if you're an artist and you want to make a splash, it's still like pretty much one of your best bets. If you have something new that you want
If
to
you're
bring
a
to the
mainstream
table,
artist,
yeah,
yeah.
if you're mainstream, and I mean they definitely lost track of the underground at a long fucking time
Long
ago
time
for
ago,
sure.
yeah.
But it's not like that was
They
ever their
got
thing.
they
That
got
was never
classics
their-
though.
They definitely
They
have
do.
classics.
They got
They really do.
classics.
The question is like, okay, do you see DJ Envy having like a successful rapper interview podcast on his own if he chooses to go that direction?
Envy
I think
been
he's-
rich for a long time.
But can he do that? Like, is
he
it?
needs the dynamic of a Charlamagne to bounce off
We
of. I'm
all
gonna be
know that
honest.
Charlamagne is going to be huge. If tomorrow it's the Charlamagne show and it's just him interviewing rappers, we know it's going to be huge. Angela Yee or DJ Envy, it's definitely like a lot less clear that that's the case.
Angela
wouldn't
Yee
you
got
say?
the lip service. Her shit been doing good too.
Yeah, I'm sure she's doing good.
I don't think I
but
ever seen one episode of Lip Service though.
I went on it with Black
Did
Dave.
you?
You was on it?
Me and Black Dave went on there and got drunk.
That's fire.
We were
Shout
drinking
out to
hella
Black
Henny,
Dave.
And we were like talking to Stephanie Santiago and just like looking at her.
She sounds amazing. I don't know who that is, but
I know Envy
Booty.
do some car shows.
she sounds like she got a fat ass. But yeah,
And we,
yeah.
didn't, we couldn't remember until after the interview that she dated Joe Budden, and then we should have asked her about
oh, no.
it. Because you got to ask. You always got to find a way to ask about Joe Budden.
Always gotta ask. But yeah, like I don't know if I'm necessarily tuning in to a DJ Envy on his own interview. Like
all right.
DJ Envy interview Soldier Boy.
This is the new.
Am I watching
This
that?
is the new dynamic. Is that it's like there's so many fucking people doing interviews that it's like the interviews that people can get that actually matter. Those get a lot of attention, and then there's certain dynamics. Like for instance, the Game has already done a bunch of fucking interviews over the past couple of months. I feel like my dynamic. People will tune in to watch me
It's
and
way
him. I feel like
different.
that'll be a big interview. When you guys sit down with Wiz, I feel like that's a fucking big interview. Even though Wiz does enough interviews that not all of his interviews are gigantic. You know, he does ones that maybe don't really get that much attention or whatever, but you guys got like 1.5 million views sitting down with him because you get to see Wiz in a
It's
different
because
light.
of the dynamic, like you said.
And that's kind of like where the game is at now, where it's like you have to either be creating a dynamic where people want to see that person in that fucking world sitting and talking to these hosts, like with Flagrant. Flagrant interviews Jake Paul or whatever, and they get like 2 million views. Jake Paul's done 1 million fucking interviews, but people want to see their environment because they know Andrew Schultz is funny. They know he's going to fuck with the person, that he's going to bring up funny shit. So they can get a lot of views even if their guest is not necessarily the biggest guest.
All right, people, we just hit 300,000 subscribers. You know we're trying to hit 400,000 subscribers. So that little red button, tap it, tap in. Appreciate y'all.